Welcome to the Indiana Football Postgame Show with Jim Coyle and Coach Shannon Griffith. A production of ISB Media. Now, here's your host, Jim Coyle, and game analyst, Coach Shannon Griffith. Hey, everybody, welcome aboard. Jim Coyle with you. Coach Shannon Griffith coming to you from Indiana's Memorial Stadium here at Merchants Bank Field as Indiana takes care of the UCLA Bruins 56-6. You don't have to worry about them covering the spread, Coach. They got that done in the first half, before the first half was even done. Scoring right off the bat in the first minute, Aiden Fisher picking off Nico Amalevin and into the end zone. He rumbles. Man, they made life hell on Nico today early on. He couldn't breathe, sacked twice early, picked off early for a touchdown, and that was all in the first quarter. So didn't get a whole lot better for him, Coach, as this defensive line was just brutal on UCLA today.
Yeah, they teed it up all day long. 7 TFLs for 24 yards, 3 sacks for 18. You add Fisher's pick 6, and we're going to have Big Noon come back every year at least once, because every time they've come back, Indiana's had a big pickoff that's resulted either in a touchdown or close to a touchdown the last couple seasons. But yeah, you're totally dominant today by Indiana. And we were talking prior that offensively, it was kind of like, did they have a lot of yards because it was, the field position was so skewed in Indiana's favor most of the day that you didn't know how many yards that they ended up with. And it was crazy. Another performance too, under 100 yards rushing for UCLA. They only had 88 yards on the ground.
Indiana had more passing yards than UCLA had total yards.
Yes.
Indiana had more rushing yards than UCLA had total yards. So you could go either direction there. 262 yards on the ground today, just pounding it. UCLA did a good job in the secondary. You saw quite a few times where Indiana's offensive line gave Fernando Mendoza all the time in the world, and sometimes he was able to find guys. But a lot of times the secondary did a good job for UCLA today, and that's why Fernando didn't have such a spectacular day, although it ended up pretty well. But we're also used to spectacular days all the time, 5 touchdowns in the first half or whatever. So you got to keep all of that in mind. Still, they end up with 475 yards of total offense. But this defense, man, it started and ended the whole thing, man. They were just ferocious in the trenches. Aiden Fisher with that pickoff, the sacks. But even when they weren't sacking him, they were rushing him. They were hurrying him. They were in his face, and I mean, it was. But you can see he's got talent, man. That dude that one run that he had.
Oh yeah,
they could not get him down, but he can sling it. But I just shake my head. What the hell were you thinking? Why the flip did you leave Tennessee?
Yeah.
To take money to go to a worse team.
Well, that was his dad asking for too much money. But yeah, I mean, I don't think Penn State defense has still stopped Nico, because that game he ran all over Penn State, over 150 yards rushing. And you're correct. He can run it. He can throw it. He's an opposing force even to get down, because you have to really game tackle him to get him down. But up front, you're right. Indiana was able to get pressure with 4 guys. And when they brought the heat, they got home. And take a look at, I'll throw this one up there to see if you want to watch. This is Fisher's first interception of the ball game before he was taken out.
Intercepted. Aiden Fisher. He's got a leg. Touchdown. Hoosiers. Just like that.
And there you go.
Just like that.
Just like that. We were in the first minute of the game, and it was like right at 14 minutes of the quarter, which they started 15. So I was like, wow. this is not going to be a good day for the Bruins, which I didn't expect that it would be, but wasn't necessarily expecting that beatdown. It didn't look like it was going to be that kind of a beatdown early on, with the offense being kind of slow, even though the defense scored for them there.
Mm-hmm.
But it just kept, it's like an avalanche. It just kept coming and kept coming.
Right.
And coming, and they just can't, there's nothing they can do with it. It was like, I'm sure they're glad to get the hell out of here and get home.
Yeah, they'll be on that plane pretty quickly. The only bad thing is they probably have to drive to Indianapolis to get on it. But
Yes, they do.
Before the game, I kind of did a deep dive with their schedule and where they were at. Their 4 losses that they went 4 losses in a row. The combined with their schedule and where they UCLA, who they played, was 16-5. Now the 3-game win streak of the teams that they played, their combined record was 10-11 overall, and these were all Big Ten opponents, but 1-11 in the Big Ten play. So when you take that in consideration in terms of the hot that UCLA was on, it gave me a little bit different perspective, in the sense is they really haven't played anyone since that 4th week, which was Northwestern, which they lost by 3. And I felt a little bit better, because I was like you all week. I thought, man, Nico's getting hot at the wrong time for Indiana. He's a guy that can, carry a team on his back. And Brian Haynes and the defensive staff did a phenomenal job of putting this game plan together.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you could tell it looked like it was custom tailor-made, because they just were in every lane, in every seam. They were just shutting UCLA's offense down. And that, I mean, I know we're talking about UCLA here, but hey, this team was 3-1 in the Big Ten before today. 3-2 now. Don't forget that, people. They had won 3 straight conference games. So they came here ready to play, but I'm telling you, they are not accustomed to playing a defense like that.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of what I was referencing in the schedule of who they had lost to. They had a tough loss at Northwestern. That, again, a noon kickoff, as this one was. So 9 a.m. kickoff for them back in California. But they lost to UCLA only by 3 on that day. But that was right when they made the change, and Tim Skipper had a chance to regroup before they played Penn State. But again, yeah, the players that they do have, they've got good team speed. I thought UCLA has pretty good team speed. They're a little short up on the front and interior of both offensive and defensive lines. But, I think a lot of that had to do today is just Indiana's that good. I mean, let's just call it call it what it is. Indiana's pretty darn good football team.
Yep.
And
there's not a lot to say. Like someone said earlier, there's not a lot to analyze today. It was just total dominance on both sides of the ball, even on a day when Indiana's offense wasn't necessarily clicking on all cylinders. Fernando had a pedestrian day, for the most part. If you take away that 62-yard bomb that UCLA allowed, he was, for a total, they only threw the ball 22 times.
I know. 15
of 22, 168 yards, 3 touchdowns. One of those was a rushing TD, 68% completion percentage, and a 168 QBR. Not a bad day. It was what was needed. That was managed offense, because on the rushing side, they had that 262 yards with 4 touchdowns, averaging 5.6 yards a carry. When you're averaging 5.6 yards a carry, Coach, what do?
You keep pounding the rock.
Great, buddy. That's damn straight, because the math adds up.
Well, and in my opinion, Indiana needed this game from a rushing standpoint. They needed Hemby in black to be the Giants today when they were able to do what they did. And the offensive line at first was a little slow. They weren't getting great push, but then they started moving the bodies. And then that's when they started hitting it pretty good. And this is a team that rushed for 300 straight yards for 4 straight. And then they kind of dipped down a little bit against Iowa and, in that game. And of course, last week against Michigan State, they just weren't really good at it. And today they needed this today to get that confidence back up where they can pound the rock, especially now in the weather that we're going to start encountering here over the last few weeks of the season. You got to be able to run the football in the months of November and December with a chance to win.
That, Coach, one more home game. Indiana has 4 games remaining, but only one of those will be right here at Memorial Stadium.
2 weeks from now, right? 2 weeks?
Yeah. Next week they're in Maryland. Then they're back home. Then you go to Penn State, then Purdue. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. They got a bye before Purdue, which is
bye in between.
So stupid for that one. That's absolutely nuts. But
think about that. You're going to have 3 road games and a bye. So 4 out of the next 5 weeks ain't nothing's happening here.
Right. And the other thing is their percentages of making it to Indianapolis have increased again today, and having a bye there now prior to playing Purdue may be pretty good for this team, especially if they're going to play in the Big Ten championship, which we should know here in a couple more weeks. And they're going to have to flip a switch now because they're going to go to Maryland. They're going to play a quarterback like they did today in terms of his ability to throw and run, the freshman, the phenom, out at Maryland, Washington. And he played a heck of a ball game a week ago against UCLA. But we'll, again, enjoy this one for 48 and 24 hours, and they can get themselves back ready.
Yeah, hey, man, you're being a little giving there with the
48. Update on Fisher. Was that given at the presser? I know early. Aiden Fisher, his situation was did Signetti?
No, injuries are never going to be addressed.
Yeah.
I mean, until there's an announcement like someone's out for the season.
Yeah.
That doesn't, no. But I saw him walking off the field. I took a picture of him. I didn't even know he had been hurt.
Yeah. Well, they said at halftime it was precautionary, is what he had said on TV. Sig said that they took him out for precautionary reasons, and I didn't know if he reiterated that same response or gave a completely different update.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was pretty much that. Yeah, but I saw him walking off the field, and looked like pretty good shape to me.
Absolutely.
I mean, of course, you never know, but there's no point in having him in there at that point.
Oh, so
no. There's no, you don't need that risk. You've got too much at stake and too much ahead.
I was screaming them to get Mendoza out of the game because they were up so big. I was like, what are they doing here? This is not what you want to see. You would put Roberto in there and let him play.
Yeah, I was expecting that a little sooner than what we saw it, but
well, you want to see the big play today that really got the thing rolling, as a UCLA team had come into this game having ran 2 fake punts successfully. They were always trying to steal possession. It was a point of emphasis by Coach Signetti in Monday's presser, and this was the first punt today after that pick 6, and then Indiana goes 3 and out.
Brady back deep, and they fake it. Here's a reverse. They want to throw it. Incomplete. Matthews.
Got to respect Coach Skipper. I mean, he's not going laying down and just taking a beating, but he's tried to run a fake in every game since the Penn State game, and they've been able to pick up possessions that way. And didn't surprise me today. And the defense did a great job of making sure they cleared the kick, and they were in great position not to give them a cheap first down.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do when you're in a position like UCLA is. They're overmatched. They're on the road. This was a 9 a.m. game for them, guys. This is 12 noon kickoff. And so 9 a.m. for those West Coasters. So you had all that going against you to begin with. But, I mean, they're probably a decent football team. But they got up to a really bad start, and it just got away from them. Plus, I will say it again, I think Indiana might be the number 1 team in the country. They are so good on both sides of the ball. And that is the difference maker. So many teams are so dominant on one side and on the other. There's not that many teams that are that dominant on both sides of the ball, Coach, and it makes a gigantic difference. And boy, the rest of the season is going to be a blast. And I think the Hoosiers are going to go 12-0 and be playing the Ohio State Buckeyes in Indianapolis, like many people do. And I also think that game could be for the Heisman Trophy between William and Fernando Mendoza. If you have two 12-0 teams that are playing for the Big Ten title, which are ranked number 1 and number 2, and will have been for the entire last half of the season, I mean that's a quasi championship game of sorts.
Yeah, there's no question about that because they're both playing at a high level, and the scary thing is saying is a young pup. So you get a chance to see him for a couple more years. But yeah, the today was a good example again of complementary football being played by Indiana. Defense getting stops or turnovers, and Indiana turning those turnovers into points. And today, I think they had 14 off of turnovers, if I'm not mistaken, today, which is another great thing. And Indiana time of possession is another thing that was crazy. 35 minutes and change for Indiana, only 24-25 for UCLA, who had been averaging about 38 minutes over their last 3 games.
Yeah, well, they ran into a defense that they have not seen all season. No. And that'll take the ball away from you really quickly. And it did. They stopped them they were so horrible on third down today. That was, I'm not going to say it was the ball game for UCLA because that still wouldn't have won them the game, but it may have made it respectable. But they were so bad on third. They were 1 of 11.
Yeah.
1 of 11 on third down, while Indiana goes 12 of 16. That's pretty damn good.
That's really good. And then taking effect that UCLA was like a high 70s on fourth down conversions. And today,
Indiana goes 2 for 2, while UCLA goes 1 for 3.
Right. So again, like you said and stated, Indiana's defense is something that UCLA has not encountered all year long. And Indiana, again, today proved on a national stage that they are for real in every phase of the game because they completely dominated in every phase of the game.
Yep, 7 more tackles for loss. I believe they still lead the nation in tackles for loss. This defense does. Only 3 sacks on the day after getting 2 early. I thought they would get more, but because they were so close so many times.
Yeah, that's
okay. They would have him in the by a jersey full. That jersey looked awful slick and stretchy. That thing was stretching deep today. But they just put it on them in every facet. 475 total yards, like I said, and 262 of those on the ground. That's big time when you have the passing capability that Indiana has with the receivers like Omar Cooper, who didn't make he didn't. I think he was targeted 1 time today, maybe. Then we got Elijah Surratt. But now today was the E.J. Williams day. 2 touchdowns on the day, over 100 yards receiving, the big 62-yard touchdown bomb there. So today was his day. So now we've seen all 3 of these receivers have breakout days of sorts, whether it was the 4 and 5 TD days for Omar and Elijah. But so now you've had all 3 have these types of games. And that is what, again, part of what makes Indiana so dangerous. Then you've got this damn junkyard dog defense that Indiana has, and it's like walking through a puddle full of copperheads or water bottles, man.
Yeah, it makes it difficult. And you had said that. Let's see here. Surratt had 4 targets on the day. Cooper 3. And I'm not sure that all those, at least half of them, there was a defensive pass interference called on UCLA on both Surratt and Cooper at least twice in the game. And Surratt had the 1 touchdown there down about the 3-yard line. But Nowakowski, I mean, again, he's come in and done well. How about Becker? Kid came in. I think he started today. I don't know if EJ was in the doghouse at first or what, but Becker had 2 catches for on the day for 35 yards. So good for that kid because he's a hard worker.
Absolutely. I mean, this entire team is full of hard workers, and that is what's going to take them forward because today is one of those games you could have slacked a little bit. You're at home playing UCLA. No, didn't see that. They were getting after it from the beginning, and like I said, it started with that pick six, but it just stayed like that all day, and it was fun to watch that kind of defense. And enjoyable. And then when Indiana puts 475 yards of offense out as well and 56 points on the board, when it doesn't look like they're having an explosive offensive day, and they still put 56 points on the board. That's what I don't think that a lot of people are understanding. They're doing a lot of this stuff with ease that is just kind of crazy.
Well, they're doing a good job of taking what the defense is giving them. And today they were giving them more of the run than they were the pass for the most part. And they were able to have that dominant rushing attack back to 260 plus yards on the day. And they've got 2 good backs that can do it both in the running game and the passing game, as they both caught a couple passes out of the backfield. So again, we're going to find out next week, another big road trip to Maryland. It's a place that Indiana really hasn't played that great when they've gone out there. And they'll have a team that will be ready to challenge them there in the great state of Maryland. And we'll see what this team can bring to the table again. But I have no doubt that they're going to bring their A game each and every week because that's just how Cignetti rolls.
Yeah, we're going to see if this team can do the unthinkable, go 12-0, baby. That it's amazing, but it is within grasp, and we're going to be covering it all the way. So stick with us. We'll be back on Monday to go back to the show. Don Fisher, of course, will be with us to talk about the game, as well as the crew, regular crew, and of course Griff will be back during the week as well. So as always, Coach, appreciate you.
Absolutely, my man. Another fun.
I hope you have an enjoyable Saturday of college football. Go watch the rest of the games.
Oh yeah. We're just getting started.
And tomorrow Indiana is basketball. I'll be in Indianapolis tomorrow.
That's right.
For Indiana Baylor. But man, so we'll have all of that crazy on Monday. There's so much coming up. Holy cow. Appreciate you, boss.
You too, my man. Well, hey, for Jim Coyle, I'm the coach, Shannon Griffith. And as we say here at Indiana Sports Beat Radio, we'll catch you on the radio. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.